people who fall in love fast aren't romantic. They're wounded, and science backs that up completely. I know that sounds harsh, maybe even offensive, because we've been sold this idea our whole lives, that falling hard and fast means you love deeply, that the butterflies, the obsession, the "I've never felt this way before" feeling means it's real. But what if that feeling has almost nothing to do with the other person? What if it has everything to do with what's broken inside you? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you see yourself. Psychologists have a word for what most people call falling in love fast. It's called limerence, and it is not love. Limerence is an involuntary obsessive mental state triggered when your brain becomes fixated on someone as the potential source of something it's been starved of: validation, safety, the feeling of being chosen. When you're in limerence, you don't see the actual person. You see a projection, a fantasy built from 10% of who they really are and 90% of what you desperately need them to be. And the scariest part? It feels more intense than anything real love ever has. Here's what's actually happening in your brain. When you fall fast, your brain floods with dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, the exact same chemicals triggered by cocaine, gambling, and obsessively checking your phone for a reply that never comes. Dr. Helen Fisher's research at Rutgers found that early romantic attraction activates the caudate nucleus, your brain's craving and reward center, not the areas linked to calm, stable bonding, the addiction center. So that electric, all-consuming intensity you feel at the start, that's not love finding you. That's your brain chasing a hit, and the uncertainty makes it worse. The "does she like me back? Why hasn't he replied?" spiral. That's intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that keeps people pulling slot machine levers for hours. The unpredictable reward makes the craving stronger, not weaker. So why does this happen to some people more than others? Attachment theory has the answer. If you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, where affection was conditional, where a parent was emotionally unavailable, where you never knew where you stood, your nervous system learned something dangerous. It learned that love is scarce, and scarce things need to be grabbed the moment they appear. So the second someone shows you interest, your brain doesn't think, "let me get to know this person." It thinks, "hold on to this before it disappears." That's not romance. That's survival mode, wearing a love story as a costume. People who fall fast share 3 patterns, and most never realize it. First, they idealize. They don't fall for who the person is. They fall for who they've decided the person is. They fill every gap with projection, and when reality doesn't match, and it never does, they either ignore the red flags or completely fall apart. Second, they confuse intensity for depth. The racing heart, the can't eat, can't sleep feeling, they take that as proof it's real. But intensity is just activation. A panic attack is intense too. Depth only comes from time, consistency, and genuine understanding. Third, they use new love as emotional anesthesia. Some people don't fall fast because they feel deeply. They fall fast because it numbs something. Loneliness, purposelessness, a version of themselves they haven't healed yet. The relationship becomes a coping mechanism before it ever becomes a connection. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. If you fall fast in almost every relationship, ask yourself honestly, do you actually know these people before you fall? Or do you fall first, and then spend the entire relationship trying to make the real person match the one you invented? Because that's not love, that's projection. And projection always ends the same way, with you wondering why everyone you loved eventually changed. They didn't change. You just finally ran out of illusions. The pattern isn't bad luck. It isn't that you keep finding the wrong people. The pattern is the unhealed wound that makes you sprint toward connection before you've actually found it. So what do you actually do with this? 3 things. First, slow down deliberately, not as a strategy, not to play games, but because time reveals character in ways attraction never will. Give it 90 days before you make any serious emotional decisions. Watch how they behave under stress, with strangers, when plans fall apart. Second, get comfortable sitting with uncertainty without numbing it. The urge to define the relationship fast, to lock it down, to get the label. That anxiety is yours to manage, not theirs to fix. And third, build a life that doesn't need to be rescued by a relationship. When you have genuine purpose, real friendships, and a sense of who you are outside of love, you stop sprinting toward people. You start walking. And from that pace, the right people become obvious in a way they never were before. Falling fast doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. But understanding why you do it, that's what separates the people who keep repeating the same painful cycle from the ones who finally break it. If this hits something in you, save this video. Watch it again before you let yourself fall for the next person. And if you want to understand your attachment style at a deeper level, that video is right here.